guys, welcome back to Beast Quest Series 15, Velmal's Revenge. A long-awaited series of Beast Quest indeed. I've been looking forward to Velmal's Revenge ever since, well, I looked up the series, storyline, like the series titles and see what they were. Like, oh, Velmal's coming back, because Velmal's Revenge is on the list. Oh boy. And here we are finally, Velmal's Revenge. And I must say, the first book is, I'm not to say it's amazing really, because the first book by itself is actually a pretty darn good book on its own. And normally I'm surprised, because normally they don't get much time to focus on Wardock, or the Beast to be precise, because they have to focus more on the setup of the story. But no, we have a good, decent length of Wardock. So, I'm going to do, like I always do, in-depth story analysis. And we'll see how awesome Wardock the Sky Terror really is. And what Velmal's Revenge has concocted. Okay, first thing is we get an awesome prologue telling us that a prisoner has been wound up ever since his shipmate, Sampaio, took control of his crew and abandoned him on a wasteful prison guarded by Rashkor. He was placed in a cell with a cellmate that never spoke. No doubt this cellmate is Velmal, and if he's alive, his fight with Freya must have had a side effect with his magic as a failsafe in case he ever defeated. But he too has ended up at Rashkor's prison, but he managed to smuggle in a black jewel which he muddled into, which summoned the first of his evil beasts, Wardock. This beast was nearly the same size as Sampaio's ship, and easily knocked out Rashkor. Once the cellmate was aboard his dragon, the prisoner tried to come with. He even promised them a vast treasure, as he was once a pirate captain, but assuming this is Velmal, being the awesome villain that he is, just knocked the fool off to his untimely death. Already an awesome start. That we get a nice little backstory to kind of Sampaio, how he ended up as the captain of the pirate ship. So that's a nice little throwback there, and the stuff with Rashkor. Very nice. So yeah, my theory right there was that when Velmal was supposedly killed in Series 6, he was teleported to the prison of Rashkor, the Chamber of Pain, I believe it's called. Anyway, our heroes were introduced riding to a place called Panaya, in the kingdom known as Tangala. The two kingdoms, Avantia and Tangala, have been enemies over the years, but now they plan to end that by uniting the kingdoms with an arranged marriage. King Hugo would marry Queen Aroha. Luckily, there was a spark between the two, so it wasn't completely forced on either behalf. Hugo seemed eager for this. However, the happiness came to a halt when our heroes were ambushed by bandits. The leader of the bandits revealed they were no bandits at all, but Tangalians. The leader was Prince Rotu, nephew of Queen Aroha. He was a snobby young boy, a bit older than Tom. He seemed suspicious to trust the Avantians after all that's been going on in their area, with evil wizards and many battles. But the king eased the situation, wanting to avoid conflict with the Tangalians, as this was meant to be a day of reuniting the two kingdoms, not starting another war. They entered the Panaya city, Panaya, when a young boy liked Tom as he was a great warrior. Prince Rotu challenged this remark by having the men grab the young boy, put an apple on his head as he prepared to fire his crossbow. Tom wanted to do something, but the king shook his head. They had to respect the Tangalian ways. But Eleanor wasn't having any of this, and she fired her arrow, destroying Prince Rotu's arrow before it hit its target. But what would happen now? Prince Rotu was about to lose his crap when Queen Aroha emerged with her handmaidens as her own personal bodyguards. So that's a nice change. They were said to be the finest warriors of Tangala. Anyway, they were escorted into the Queen's palace, while Tom asked if there were any beasts in Tangala. She said no, as Tangala had 4 mystical objects to prevent good or evil magic from entering. This, in turn, stopped beasts from disturbing the kingdom. The 4 items were a crown, a ring, an orb, and a scepter, hidden in a sacred chamber which only the Queen would be able to enter. Prince Rotu didn't think it was wise to tell the Avartians these secrets, but she informed them, "This is a wedding, there will be no secrets." As the feast was underway, Tom and Daltek spotted a mysterious red raven knocking on a window. Then, when the raven flew away, a soldier informed that someone had broken into the palace. How ironic timing. Tom and Eleanor tried to stop the thief from stealing the 4 sacred treasures, but they failed, and he escaped with the treasures in tow. But Tom felt the thief was very familiar to him. When our heroes returned, Prince Rotu put the blame on our heroes, and the Queen said they shouldn't make rash judgments so quickly. So next morning there was a trial, but their allies didn't even help them in the court. In fact, Adaro was against them. When the Queen revealed the 4 beasts will return to Tangala, no doubt they lived here before, but the magic artifacts kept them out until now. That's my phone. Damn it. Anyway, Prince Rotu was given the Sand Map, a magical map that would show the kingdom of Tangala made of sand. Tom wanted to do this quest, but Adaro declined, saying it's a Tangalian matter now. They were accused of stealing the treasures and sentenced to a prison. Daltek showed up and apologized for Adaro's turns on our heroes. The king really wanted them to help, but he wanted it to be kept a secret. So Daltek gave them their weapons, freed them from the jail. They even figured out who the thief was. The Red Raven delivered a message that the prisoner had escaped the Chamber of Pain, and Tom knew of only one imprisoned there. Velmal. He was back. Okay, this means Tom knew that Velmal was alive and not dead. Or, the special with Grashcore holds some information that I'm not aware of. But what I'm gathering is these beasts always lived in Tangala, but they were evil, hence why they decided to keep all magic. So Velmal had to rely on his fighting skills to break in and steal the artifacts. Once that was done, he had summoned he'd summoned back the evil beasts of Tangala, and the back of the book tells me these beasts work for Velmal, and it's either A, they are grateful for what he did and obey him because of that, or B, Velmal puts his evil beasts on Tangala, but the artifacts denied them entry, or C, Velmal originally lived in Tangala, which explains the evil beasts. So, okay, we do learn that no one knows what Velmal's beasts look like, so this tells me the beasts were here before the Tangalians, which would make them very old. With our heroes free, they landed safely with Arctur's eagle feather, and then Tom used the power of the golden breastplate to break open the stables and free their animals. Tom said it wouldn't take long for the Queen to realize they had escaped, but without the sand map they had no idea where to go, so they had to find Prince Rotu, and Silver wasted no time catching his scent, which led them to a small town in the distance. But before they could enter, a large dragon flew over them. Luckily it didn't see them, but Tom spotted one of the 4 mystical artifacts, the crown. He then used the red jewel to overhear what the beast was thinking. The beast told the people to prepare, as Wardock, the Sky Terror, had returned. Tom and friends raced after Wardock, and by the time they arrived, the destruction had already began. They saw Prince Rotu trying to fight off the beast, but he was clearly overpowered with Wardock's whipping tail. Rotu ended up dangling from a root near the quarry. Tom began using the red jewel to communicate with Wardock, which shocked the great beast, as he had never heard someone speak to him in ages. This made him retreat, allowing our heroes to save Prince Rotu. He said he would take them to the Queen and see them locked up again, but with his soldiers dead, by Wardock it seemed, that wasn't an option. Wardock came back for round 2, and Tom tried to save a young boy from Wardock's attack, but the boy just managed to get inside his home, only to have Wardock land right on top, crashing the entire building, and it wouldn't be long before the beams broke in and crushed the boy to death. Tom raced in, used the power of the golden breastplate to save the boy, then Eleanor helped to drag Tom away from the blast of impact. Prince Rotu was about to take our heroes in when they were won over by the crowd, and the mayor of the town, known as Mina, said, you know, they shouldn't be taken in, all that stuff. Prince Rotu refused to accept them as heroes and nothing more than criminals. Tom wished Rotu was on their side as he had the sand map, but Eleanor revealed she had stolen the sand map from Rotu without him noticing, giving them the upper hand. Mina led her people out of the town to a secret cave for safety away from Wardock. However, Wardock had followed them and used his high screeching blast to blast our heroes into the cave. Now they were trapped. Wardock awaited them, because, you know, the cave is only like one way in, one way out scenario. Tom asked Mina if there was another way out of the cave, and luckily there was indeed a way out, but it was too narrow for everyone to go through. So Tom and Eleanor went through it alone, found their way to above the cave. There was also a pulley system which they could use as a trap for Wardock. However, Wardock seemed to have got the drop on them. He grabbed Tom and pulled him away from everyone, but Tom wasn't going to allow this. He stabbed the beast's foot, which plummeted Tom into the river. Tom tried to trick Wardock into thinking he had been drowned in the river, so Tom could come up with a plan to defeat Wardock. Tom managed to drag himself out of the river. He gave Eleanor the sign to prepare to launch a trap they had found in the mine on Wardock. Tom lured Wardock to him, springing the trap, and Tom tried to use the golden boots, but Wardock knocked him off course, now whipping again, toying with his prey. I must admit Wardock has done a terrific job beating our hero to a pulp. Not many beasts have done it to this level. However, when Tom finally got that luckily foot on Wardock, with Eleanor dropping the trap on Wardock. So basically what happened was Tom got whipped back, and then he was going to die at that moment, but then Eleanor comes in, launches the trap on Wardock, sending a bunch of rocks crushing him down. He had Wardock at kill point, his sword near his neck, but then Wardock turned to purple sand and vanished before his eyes, leaving the first of the treasures, the crown of Tangala, behind. Tom picked up the crown and joined Eleanor and the townsfolk. It hadn't been long before Eleanor and Tom, it hadn't been long before Tom had died, and if it wasn't for Eleanor, well, Tom wouldn't be here right now. But then it got worse. Velmal showed up, looking worse than ever. His skin was so pale you could see the skeleton structure underneath the thin layer. The Chamber of Pain had done its worst to Velmal. Tom spotted the black jewel with his golden helmet powers, and he had a theory, but a very risky one. He dared Velmal to kill him, giving full control to lowering his guard. And luckily, nothing happened. Velmal didn't seem to do anything. Tom explained that when Velmal was banished from the Circle of Wizards, he lost his magic, and he's dependent on the black jewel for defense. So Tom has quickly come to the conclusion that the Circle of Wizards got rid of Velmal's powers. So in Tom's mind, after Velmal's fight with Freya, he ended up teleported to the Circle of Wizards, where they removed him from the circle, stripped him from his magic, sentencing him to Rashkor's prison. That seems to make sense, but how can Tom put together so quickly that? Because the story needs to explain it. If that's the case, why not have Daltek say it when they have him on screen? I mean, it would make more sense than Tom saying, exposition! Like, it feels like they're rushing the book, basically, with Tom saying it. Because when they have Tom say it, it's like, we need to rush the book, so we'll have Tom, come up with this big scheme and he'll figure it out. But they could have easily had Daltek do that, and that would make more sense, but, They took the crown to Storm's saddlebags and galloped away to find the 3 remaining beasts. Overall, and that was Wardock, the Sky Terror. And I must say, it's a very great book. The ending, with Tom suddenly coming to the big conclusion on Velmal, is the only problem with it. It's not a major one. I just wish they fixed it up in later books, where they don't have Tom say, I figured out this really quickly, because it feels like that's rushing the book to me, because I need to wrap this up. We'll have Tom figure this out. Again, they could use characters like Daltek or Adaro to do that, because they're wizards. So, that's probably the one thing I have an issue with. But other than that, I really like this book. The introduction to an arranged marriage is something we haven't seen before on Beast Quest, from my knowledge anyway. It's a nice callback to the Disney stuff. I do get what it would come up at some point with King Hero going to an arranged marriage. Prince Rotu, snobby little prince, another sort of Disney cliches at some points. But, I think he's a nice foil to Tom. He's not a bad character, he's a kind of he's like just being a bit stuck-up prince as you do. And then you get Wardok himself, and to be fair, normally in the Beast Quest series, the first beast has to be rushed for the story to work, but no, as a matter of fact, Wardok is in it quite a bit. He's in it from the prologue, he's in it like after 3 or 4 chapters in. Let me just check which one he was at. I think 3 or 4. Yeah. Yeah, he was in chapter 5 onwards. But he's also in chapter... the prologue chapter, and then he's in chapter 5 onwards. But yeah, if he's in it, I feel like he's in it quite a lot more than other first beasts, because again, story. But this, he really does a number on Tom, and if it wasn't for Eleanor with that rock trap, he would have probably died with that powerful whipping tail of his. But yeah, I really do like Warlock the Sky Terror, and I am looking forward to the next book. So join us next time on Beast Quest, where Velmal's revenge continues in none other than Exaric, the Bone Cruncher. Till next time, guys. Peace. Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest, Series 15, Book 2, Exaric, the Bone Cruncher. And it's been a while, hasn't it? But here we are back again, and here we are with Exaric. Okay, first, if you've seen my Wardok video, there was a few seconds of silence at one point. That was because I was checking my notes. Hopefully it wasn't too much of a wait for you. But with that being said, let's go on to Exaric. In this book we learn that Velmal was in the process of reclaiming the ring of Tangala back from a merchant who had stolen it from him. And Velmal finally caught the thief. He fed him to the next evil creature, which is Exaric, a living plant monster that used its vines to move himself as limbs for, Exaric uses his vines as limbs, as, legs and arms and stuff. How unfortunate for the thief. He was fed to, Exaric, that's it. But I have a feeling we'll be seeing him later on. Tom and friends were preparing to leave while the villagers were rebuilding their town. Tom had befriended the boy he saved from Wardok, known as Jem. But then the Queen's elite guard came to arrest Tom. Tom told Eleanor to take Storm and await him at a certain point, while Tom told Jem to cause a landslide on his signal. As soon as one of the elite jumped down from her horse, Tom used the Golden Boot's power to hijack the ride and gallop away. Tom gave the signal, and the rock slide blocked off the elite, joining back with Eleanor. Tom spanked the horse away, and they headed out. I'm surprised Tom didn't keep the horse for Eleanor, but I guess he didn't want to be a criminal. But Tom normally does steal for the good of the kingdoms. He protects it sometimes, but oh well. Tom and friends spoke to Daltek, who explained things weren't looking good. Tangalians were starting to decide to banish Avaltians. They needed to hurry and clear their names, or a war could start all over again. Using the sand map Eleanor had swiped from Prince Rotu, they were able to find the best route to the next treasure of Tangala. They approached a ferryman who said he would charge them nothing to carry them down the river, but then the ferryman stopped them halfway. It was revealed that Prince Rotu was waiting for them on the other side. He took out a knife and cut their rope. So the ferryman was either paid off to do this, or the ferryman believed the prince was right because he's, royal blood. Tom and friends fought their way through the strong current until Eleanor shot an arrow. She planned to make an makeshift anchor on to hold them safely, but then they realized they were about to go over some falls. The anchor had stopped them before just going over, but it was clear the anchor wouldn't hold. Tom, Eleanor, and Storm all got off just in time, but Silver was too late. The anchor came loose, taking Silver and the raft with it. When they reached the bottom, there was no trace of Silver, but some wreckage of the raft. They salvaged the remains together and created some oars, continuing downstream. This way, no one could carry on. This way, no one could carry on their quest. But also, hopefully, they'd find Silver. Yeah, that's why they built the raft. They rebuilt the raft when the raft went over. They rebuilt it and carried on downstream from that point to carry on their quest, but also find Silver if he's alive. That is. Eleanor mentioned that Prince Rotu best not bump into them again, or otherwise she'll have a go at him. Tom and friends paddled downstream until they reached a town. It seemed deserted until they came across some distant yelling. Our heroes knocked as they explained they were from Panaya. They had come to help with this knowledge. With this knowledge, the people let our heroes in. Tom saw a young man yelling of shock and going on about a beast. Tom tried to get some answers out of him. As he began describing it, it had sharp teeth, and there was a mysterious man ordered him to be fed to it. We can guess who that man was. Suddenly the people yelled a roar, who heard something was coming their way. But luckily the villagers had captured the creature, for Eleanor suddenly called out, "Silver?" Indeed it was Silver. Our heroes had tried to convince the people that Silver wasn't the beast, but of course they didn't buy it. They knocked out our heroes and planned to hang Silver to death. But then Storm came charging in, freeing Silver, who freed Tom and Eleanor, and then a girl cried something was coming. The people ignored her until a tentacle came and grabbed the girl, pulling her further away from our heroes. I'm not sure why the people would believe that Silver was the beast. Does he really look like a monster that the young man described? At the very least, they could have asked him before confirming the execution. Tom went to rescue the girl, and in there, that's where we see Exaric. He is revealed to also be capable of swimming in waters, as Tom fought his way to get to the girl back. He fought his way to get the girl back. He spotted the ring of Tangala inside Exaric's throat. With Eleanor's help, they managed to save the girl and made a retreat. They gained the villagers' trust for the rescue and spoke to Brennan, the man who had originally spotted the creature in his bed. He didn't really spot the creature in his bed. He was the guy yelling earlier about the beast. He further explained Velmal was planning to make a deal with him, but Brennan caught on that he was going to backstab him. So Brennan double-crossed him first, which is when Velmal realized it was better to put the ring in Exaric's, like with Wardock. Truly, it seemed the most safest protection to stop Tom recovering them was on the beasts. Personally, I would have the items on me instead of giving them out, but what are you going to do? Anyway, Tom had come to the conclusion they had to get the ring without killing Exaric. Don't quite get that fully, but I'll go with it. They went back and prepared to face Exaric again, and with the power of the Red Jewel, they finally knew his name. Tom and Eleanor fought the beast while their animals were looked after by the people of the town. However, despite our heroes' best efforts, they were overpowered by Exaric, until Prince Rotu showed up, blasting the creature with powerful torches. This made Exaric sink into the swamps. Tom and others all assumed Exaric is dead. Exaric is dead. And if that's the case, not only had Tom failed in retrieving the ring, but also he had failed as master of the beasts. I'm not following on his second reasoning. After all, these beasts are evil, so would killing them really be so wrong? Besides, I'm sure he killed other evil beasts in the past. You can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Tom and Eleanor were pissed at Rotu for how he took down Exaric, but to be fair, he did save their lives, so some gratitude wouldn't hurt. Anyway, everyone went back to the village, with Rotu explaining that the incident with the river was a joke, and then he bragged about him figuring out Exaric's fire weakness. He then took credit for the defeat of Wardock. First off, now we know the prince is a liar, so maybe what he mentioned with that being a joke thing with the river stuff could be a lie, as he doesn't like the Avantians. Plus, they're considered thieves. Plus, I'm gonna say Prince Rotu only got lucky with using the fire against Exaric. Wow, how ironic. How ironic he just manages to have fire on hand to take down Exaric. But yeah, surprised, Exric is alive and gets revenge on Rotu by grabbing the entire hut and dragging him into the swamps. Tom now realised that he had to drag Exric out in order to gain the upper hand. Our hero dived in to rescue Rotu. Tom was under the water, fending off Exric's tentacles, and after a short scuffle he returned, giving Eleanor the signal to Storm to pull up Exric. Because as Tom was down there, he had tied all of Exric's tentacles, and Storm got a moment to shine. Using the combined strength of Storm's own inner strength and Tom's golden armor, they managed to drag out Exric. However, the beast broke free near the shallow water. Our heroes quickly rescued Rotu, and he ran out of harm's way. Then Eleanor fired a barrage of arrows, pinning Exric down. With no tentacles left, he was at mercy kill. Point for Tom. But our hero needed that ring back first. Exric refused to let our hero have it, so Tom literally dived in the beast's throat to get the treasure. Damn. Tom used his shield to wedge Exric's mouth open, so he could escape when he had the ring. He also had to be careful in case Exric used his suction inside his throat to pull Tom down his belly. But luckily, he managed to find the ring just in time. However, the shield slipped. Tom was now trapped, but Tom wasn't going to let it end like this. He used the power of the golden armor, I'm guessing breastplate, leg armor, and boots, to do a powerful ram jump out of Exric. Tom taunted Exric, showing he had the ring, and with the beast defeated, Rotu was going to finish the creature off with his sword. Luckily, Silver stopped him, allowing Exric to fade away. Tom took out his frustration on Rotu, and despite the prince saying that he shouldn't have a go at him after he saved their lives, Tom still told the spoilt prince to go home. But we know that that's not gonna happen with the prince. Before our heroes leave, Brennan handed them a healing potion, which not only did they use to heal themselves, but also to aid them further on their quest as a tool which could be used later on. And as our heroes galloped away, another beast awaits them. I still prefer Wardark by a few points. It has a few more stuff with Velmal in it. Yeah, it has more Velmal in it, less small nitpicks, and it felt like a more intense battle. While Exric, it seems to be more focusing on the rivalry with Tom and Rotu. Nothing wrong with that, but I feel like more focus should be on Velmal, as this is his revenge. However, with that being said, every character in this book has a moment to shine. Silver, sure he got nudged off from the raft, but he came and stopped Rotu from killing Exric. Storm used his inner strength to help pull out Exric, which tells me that the beast can't survive without a good amount of water, which did weaken Exric a lot. Eleanor with her barrage of arrows pinning down Exric, and Tom got to be more badass. Not only does he do heroic things, but I wasn't expecting him to jump into Exric's throat get the ring that way. And even Rotu managed to use the fire. Yeah, he even managed to use the fire, which turned out to be another weakening point for the beast. So even though I preferred Wardark, as it felt more tense, this is a pretty close one. But yeah, okay, that was basically Exric. I think I may have a few stumbles with that one here and there, but I did try to re-go over the few little fumbles I had with it. But like I said, it's a pretty good book. It's very well paced, I think. You start off with them finding the next destination, and then you go on to the river stuff with that little joke with Rotu. Then it moves on to the village stuff, where they find the village, and then they see that, oh, they've caught Silver, and then it goes into the stuff with Exric, who's kind of like this Merc creature. If you've seen Merc back in the olden days of Beast Quest reviews, has a similar thing going on with him, just without the body, you could say. And yeah, he's got the similar thing going on there. Prince Rotu coming in, kind of caught me off guard and all that stuff. And then when they think he's dead, he comes back, of course, and he rises, and Tom does incredible things to get that ring. All in all, I think this is a great book. So many twists and turns, all coming in at once. But is it better than Wardark? Like I said, no. But overall, I think Exric is a wonderful book, and a decent follow-up to Wardark. And it's not over yet. No, it's not. And I'm hoping we can get more Velmal because it is his series. Well, his revenge. He needs to be in it a bit more, I think. So I'm hoping we can get that. Sadly, Exric is the weakest book so far, but it's not weak in a bad way because it's very close to Warrock. But anyway, next time on Beast Quest, like always, is none other than Plexor, the raging reptile, and that is confirmed to be a water beast. Till next time, guys. Peace. Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest, Series 15, Book 3, Plexor the Raging Reptile, and easily this is the best book of Series 15 to me so far. First thing I want to say, with my new video editing software, you may see some black bars in some videos. I'm doing everything in my power to decrease them for you, so if they do pop up in any video, they shouldn't be massively fat. But with that being said, let's get into what me and my friend Adam call the Nessie of Beast Quest, Plexor, the Raging Reptile, and that of course being Adam Ferns. Okay, like always, in-depth story analysis, so let's get to it. Our heroes were crossing the desert and heading to the next location of another of Tangalia's sacred treasures. They had to reach a town called Iran. It was tough, though. Not only was it hard to get through the desert, but also Daltic arrived via a magic vision spell and explained all the Avantians, himself included, had been arrested by the Tangalians. They were accused of aiding our heroes for, and I quote, stealing the artifacts. The Queen was beginning to have doubts. Tom told Daltic to give them more time. He had to try and keep the Queen and the Tangalians held back to stop a war being started. Soon our heroes came across a dried-up well, and next to it lied a warrior who looked parched. It was Prince Rotu. Tom and friends saved Rotu by giving some of their water. He snatched and greedily nearly gulped it all down, but he did thank them for saving his life. So it did seem he was starting to respect our heroes, despite what he believed them to be. They were now in one group and continued their way to the town of Iran. Eleanor mentioned there was an oasis on the way, a good spot to get some drinking water, which explains why our heroes was okay giving so much to Prince Rotu. Anyway, our heroes came across some mirages in the desert. Tom saw Uncle Henry, Freya, and Kenta all around him. I must admit, it did get me a bit when Freya said Velmal had captured her again. When Tom broke free, thanks to Storm, he quickly saved Eleanor by splashing the last bit of water to wake her up. She thought she was fighting some Peo's pirates, but when they realized Rotu was gone, and soon, so was the map. So, at the same time when Rotu was gone, the map was also gone. So it's either Eleanor lost the map while that time with the mirages, or, Rotu took the map and stole it. But to be fair, I think most of us agree that probably Rotu took the map. Tom and friends decided to use the power of the red jewel, as they knew the beast would lead them to the next treasure, and before losing the map, they realized that the next treasure was near an oasis beside the town, Iran. Tom sensed the next beast's thoughts. He said all who enter his waters would die. When our heroes reached the village, they found Prince Rotu. He explained he had recovered from his illusions, and at the same time he ended up here. Soon our heroes were interrupted by a boy and a girl telling them to not enter the lake, as a monster lies in it. But the people of the town wouldn't stop. They were searching for a statue of a cursed fish. Even talking to the elder made no difference. The boats were starting to leave the harbour. It's nice to have a callback to most of this dialogue. It does seem familiar to other classic sea monster movies, like The Kraken, Jaws, and of course Nessie. Only a nice change is the beast is an oasis in the middle of a desert, so that's unique. And I like the fact that Tom uses the power of the red jewel in a different way. Besides communication, he uses it as a tracking way when the map is lost. So that's a nice way, because, he knows that the beasts are guarding the treasures. So it makes sense to do that. With some people already on the lake and others singing about the great festivity, by now he couldn't reason with these people. So the very least he could do was to defend when Plexor arrived. He would protect them while they made a retreat to the shore. Tom and Eleanor took a boat and left Rotu in charge of their animals, and it seemed that he gave them support on our hero's quest. This could be a trick, but I don't think so. It did feel really sincere to me. Anyway, Tom and Eleanor arrived. The beast made himself known, scaring everyone off, and using the power of the red jewel, they discovered his name. Plexor. Another battle was about to get underway. They even spotted what appears to be the orb in Plexor's eye via communication. Plexor explained he had blocked the channels so that people can't access the water supply. He was planning to keep all the water for himself and to let the desert dry them out, which seems to make sense. Plexor's not in the right environment. He should be in an ocean. It wouldn't surprise me if Velmal knew by putting Plexor into the oasis he would need all the water he can to sustain himself. But then Plexor is loyal to Velmal, so he wouldn't mind about that. Tom grabbed a harpoon and gets another badass moment, launching himself with the harpoon onto Plexor. Now Plexor did get him off, but the harpoon did some damage. While Tom tried to retreat to the shore, Plexor was closing in fast, but the prince came with a crowd of townsfolk and started firing some harpoons, saving Tom from Plexor's wrath. This was the second time now that Rotu had saved Tom, but it got even better. With the aid of the townsfolk, Rotu was able to toss a large net over Plexor, finally capturing the beast. He even asked Tom to come and help secure their capture. Now I did go on a bit of a rant about Rotu, saying the story should be focusing more on its villain, Velmal, as his revenge. But even with that being said, the development for Rotu is going really well. It's not rushed. It seems he's gaining more respect for our heroes with each encounter they have. So I really do like the friendship aspect between our heroes and Rotu. Tom was heading over when he noticed a hooded figure. Well, I wonder who that might be. Tom had his sword ready, telling Plexor to surrender, which it seemed he was until boom! It was a trick. Plexor had tricked them into catching himself so he could get the drop on Tom. But despite Tom's best efforts, it didn't change the outcome. Plexor had escaped. The villagers rightfully yelled at Tom for falling for Plexor's trick, but Corey defended him, saying anyone would have ended up the same way. Tom begged the people to give him one last chance. If he could go into one of the wells and enter the watery depths, he could find Plexor's underwater lair and finally end this battle. Tom gained the trust and took Rotu and Eleanor with a rope to lower him down into the well. Rotu was back to his snobby attitude, but Tom didn't listen. He tried to ignore it. He was lowered into the well, and he had a tough time pushing through Plexor's water trap with, his magic shield, with Sepron's tooth down there. Luckily, he overpowered it and gradually got through. He had made it to Plexor's lair, and Tom assumed Plexor thought he was dead, giving our hero the element of surprise. Tom took the battle to the surface, where he saw some wrecked boats with a busted anchor, but a chain which could prove useful. Tom took the chain to bind around Plexor's mouth shut, while also using it at the same time as heavy rains to tame Plexor down. However, Plexor was having none of that, and he took Tom to the bottom of the waters, hoping to either knock him off or let his breath give out. Tom caught on to this idea quick and decided to block up Plexor's gills. That way neither of them could sustain themselves for much longer. Plexor broke out, gasping for air, then Tom took his advantage. When the beast guard lowered, he took control of Plexor's body with the chains and made him crash onto the shore. Tom demanded he surrendered, and finally he did, leaving the orb only left as Plexor faded away. Plus, the rains had returned to Iran. The village had been saved. So that was nice how Tom was able to beat him with that little trick of the underwater stuff, because, Plexor tries to get Tom drowned in the water. It starts off with, I'm going to chain your mouth up so you can't bite me. Then Plexor's like, fine, then if I can't bite you, I'll make you drown to death. And then, Tom's like having none of that, and he blocks off Plexor's own gills, so he can't breathe either. He goes to the surface. Plexor's all tuckered out from that, and then Tom takes that advantage, drives the beast's own body into the shore and crashes him that way, beating the beast. Pretty awesome stuff. Tom got the praise of the people, and even when he even thanked Rotu for helping out take down the beast. Truly a friendship was being forged, but there was still some concern. Tom remembered the hooded figure watching. I have a feeling on who that is. But aside from that, they soon found the sand map inside Rotu's bag. He had it all along. He stole it back from Eleanor while they were hallucinating. Then Tom put it together that Rotu drugged them, allowing him to steal the map. Rotu had been against them from the very beginning. It was all a con. I do like that they explain in detail enough instead of Tom pulling information out of nowhere. It felt like he had put the knowledge he had known together well, I think. Tom went to the well to inform Eleanor, but they had been sent into the bottom of the well. Then Tom was pushed in as well. Rotu was there. He had taken the 3 treasures for himself, and then was joined by Velmal. Yep, it was revealed that Rotu was working with Velmal, as Velmal had promised him kingship of Tangala if he helped with his scheme. Velmal explained this entire quest was a setup for Tom. He had given each beast of Tangala one of the treasures to control them. Yeah, he had given them one of the treasures to control them, and with the power of his black jewel, he could control any beast holding one of the 4 treasures. Velmal and Rotu headed off, bringing the final beast to attack Panaya. So this is what confuses me. Wardock broke Velmal out, and he hasn't stolen the crown yet at that point, but he's still under Velmal's control. So my point is, if the black jewel can control any beast as long as it's holding one of the 4 other treasures, how did Velmal control Wardock to break out? But that plot hole aside, the rest makes sense. Steal the treasures to control the beasts. Tom is set up as a thief. Rotu wants kingship because he feels his aunt is too soft. She needs to be tougher. So he thinks he should take his rightful place on the throne. I must say, this was an unexpected twist. I was wondering why Rotu got so much focus and not Velmal, but now it makes sense. Once again, another great scheme by Velmal. And I was carried away. I thought like, oh, is this the book where Rotu turns to the good side? Actually, no. I really like this book. Adam Blade, props to you. You really gave us a floop. You thought Rotu's going to join your side. He's going to gain your trust, and boom! No, he's not. He's really working for Velmal. And we knew. When I said I knew that Rotu took the map, I was thinking because before this, we assumed that Rotu was this snobby character and he was thinking for himself. He didn't like them. He was doing this for the kingdom to help his queen, you know. But no, he was doing all these bad things not because he thought he hated the Avarians, but he was doing it for Velmal, and that completely threw me off guard. And it does explain why Velmal didn't have much focus, because Rotu was his puppet on the part of this, and it wouldn't surprise me if Velmal turns on Rotu. But we're all gonna see, aren't we? So we've got an epic finale next time, but right now, Plexor the Raging Reptile is easily the best book of Series 15 for me, and you can easily see why. Great story, a really good beast fight. It goes on for one bit, then it gets broken off into the second half, so that's nice. But next time, without further ado, like always, the next awesome Beast Quest review is Quagos the Armored Beetle. Till next time, guys, peace! Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest, Series 15, Book 4, Quagos the Armored Beetle. And it's finally time to wrap up Series 15, Velmal's Revenge. So like always, in-depth story analysis, and then my overall rankings of where I rank this book. Okay, guys, before I go on, I want to say that the prologue does reveal that Quagos, his approaching force can cause earthquakes, which makes sense if you get it. Quagos, quake, yeah. Tom and friends had to find out a way out of the well. They had been left there by Prince Rotu, who had been working for the evil sorcerer Velmal the entire time to take over the throne of Tangala. But Tom had it. He used the power of the golden armor to ricochet his way up the well. Once he lowered the bucket so his allies could climb up. Storm was revealed to have escaped and joined our heroes. They were about to head off when Daltic informed them that Panaya was under attack. The final beast had arrived. Our heroes were needed in Panaya right now. Tom and friends soon arrived at Panaya, but the gates were barricaded thanks to the rubble on the other side, so Tom used his shadow to scout the area. He even heard the final beast's name, Quagos, which means it was time he returned his shadow, and used the golden armor power to break down the gates. The elite guards surrounded Tom, accusing him of summoning Quagos here, but Tom informed them that he was here to stop Quagos, and he never stole the treasures. They gave him a chance by allowing him to defeat the beast, but Tom overheard that Velmal was speaking to him telepathically. He told Quagos to bow to Tom and tricked the Tangarians into thinking Tom was Quagos' master. It worked, and the elite ordered him arrested again. Wow, Velmal is so deceiving in this series. He hasn't changed a bit. His wicked methods are something special. It's truly outstanding. Tom and friends surrendered to the elite and were brought to the Queen. They tried to convince her that they were innocent, but Rotu showed up and told them that they can't be trusted. He even brought the treasures of Tangala that Tom collected and took credit for gathering them. After some counselling, the Queen was convinced to put our heroes back in their cell. I do like how Rotu is taking advantage of the situation by gaining the Queen's favour by showing that he had recovered the treasures. Very nasty work. Tom and friends were escorted to the prison, but Tom had no choice. He couldn't be thrown in jail again. He had to beat the final beast and save Tangala, so he used his golden armor power to beat up the elite and break our hero's shackles. He stole one of the soldiers' swords and even had to threaten one of the soldiers' lives to drop their weapons, basically. With them in a strong position, they made their retreat. They wanted to free their friends from jail, but Daltic advised against this. If they broke them out, it would certainly start war, so what they had no choice but to leave their friends until they finished Quagos. Tom and friends made their way to the Queen's throne room and spied on the conversation. The Queen was having a discussion about the Avartians and deciding if war was necessary. Plus, there was the matter of Quagos. Rotu took his advantage and started twisting the situation to make Aroha agree with war. But Velmal was revealed to be disguised as one of the council members. He planned to snatch the treasures from Queen Aroha and then use the Black Jewel to summon Quagos once again. Now Rotu was like, "What are you doing?" That means he either finally realizes that Velmal has evil intentions, or he's just playing along to keep his cover up. Rotu was shocked, actually, to see he spoke to Velmal, who said that this wasn't part of the deal, but Velmal obviously reveals that he was just using Rotu to get access to the castle and help scheme against the people. Tom and Eleanor arrived, but Velmal had already escaped. The Queen spoke to Tom and she asked if he could stop Quagos, and Tom actually says that he believes his death will come one day at the hands of a beast, and he doesn't plan it on being today. With that, Queen Aroha did allow them to take care of Quagos. Tom went outside, and after a scuffle he had with Velmal pinned down, and Tom demanded he hand over the Black Jewel, but Eleanor informed to Tom that Quagos was coming. Tom was endlessly taunted by Velmal, which got him so mad he knocked out the evil wizard and paid his attention on Quagos. After trying to fight the beast, it seemed to prove useless, as his thick armor blocked him from his sword attacks. But when Eleanor came to Tom's aid, she managed to knock Quagos on his side, hacking at his legs. It was working. Then Tom later went for the underbelly, which really spilled some blood. However, Tom was pushed back hard. Tom crashed through a window and had to get up to help his allies defeat Quagos. He used his golden armor power combined with the amber jewel to finish off Quagos' legs. Then he used the power of the golden boots to jump on Quagos' shell, and with the power of the breastplate and amber jewel combined, he was able to break Quagos' mighty shell in half. I should also mention Quagos' shriek hurt the ears. This caused the beast to crumble into pieces, leaving one fragment of silver remaining of Quagos. Tom had required the scepter of Tangala, but his victory was short-lived when Velmal attacked, bragging he still had gained some victory, as he had the 3 other jewels, or should I say the 3 other treasures of Tangala, which means he could use the 3 remaining treasures on 3 beasts like he did before, to make more mind slaves. As Velmal gloated his victory, Queen Aroha had surprised us all, as she finally found the courage to take matters into her own hands. She kicked Velmal and managed to get all the remaining treasures back, but Velmal felt like it was time for him to leave. He threw down a vial and made a run for it. Everyone went in pursuit. At one point, Queen Aroha got caught, but Rotu redeemed himself by knocking Velmal on the head. However, it didn't change the outcome. Velmal still escaped, but saving Tangala was reward enough, and if Velmal ever came back, they'd be ready for him. Next day, our heroes were getting dressed for a big wedding, and Tom and Eleanor admired one another in their clothing. They even crossed hands and walked across the grounds together. But the joy was ruined when Velmal returned but his ploy was stopped when it was revealed that Grashkor was waiting for him to come back, and he dragged Velmal back to the Chamber of Pain. Which means they didn't restore the treasures until Grashkor had captured Velmal and left Tangala, so they had a plan waiting for that in the works. The marriage was a success, and the king implied that some friendships lead to love, as it did for him and Aroha, which he winked at Tom, which I'm guessing is implying about Tom and Eleanor. Heck, the final image is Eleanor smitten. So if the series is implying Tom and Eleanor will soon become a couple, more power to them, but I would personally prefer them as friends, you know. But yeah, this is my basically my review on Quagos the Armored Beetle. And what are my overall rankings? I want to say I say Plexor is better. Yeah, I'm gonna say Plexor is the best book. Nothing wrong with Quagos, I love Quagos to death, but it feels a bit like a better version of Bloodboar, where the beast is wearing an armored hide and they get him onto one side, and then he's knocked over, and yeah, then he's easily taken down. I do like the fact that we have some twists, but to be fair, with the whole Rotu stuff, and then he gets redemption, then you got Velmal. Oh, Velmal was really using Rotu. Yeah, I kind of saw that coming. Velmal's kind of got pounded this ending, and basically he got beaten easily, I think. I mean, first of all, it's like, oh, you knock him out, then he rakes up, gathers the free treasures, and then taunts again. Then he makes a run for it. Then next time, he still tries to go back for it. To be fair, if I was Velmal, I would leave, not go back at all. Don't risk going back when you know they're expecting you. Velmal should have left when he had the chance. If he should know that if he goes back, they're probably going to be expecting him. So that's kind of a stupid move. And yeah, that's what do you know happens? They were expecting his return and had Grashkor ready. So yeah, Grashkor took him back to the Chamber of Pain. So he's still alive, but it'll be a while before he gets back anyway. But like I said, Quagos is probably, I still say Plexor is better. Then you've got the other two beasts, which are Exoric and, I actually want to say this is the weakest of the three beasts. The four beasts, to be fair. Because Quagos, he just feels kind of weak compared to the other three. But yeah, this has been my review on Quagos. So, strangely enough, Quagos the Armored Beetle is the weakest book in Series 15. The finale seems to be the weakest. But overall, beside all that aside, I do like a few things we get with it, you know. I do like the Queen's arc is racked up. She finally has the courage to take matters into her own hands at the end, and she's the one that knocks Velmal down at one point. I do not like the ending though. I mean, I like the wedding part with the marriage of King Hugo and Queen Aroha, but the stuff implying that Tom and Eleanor will be a couple, that's all up to the fan base, I guess. But like I say, Series 15, great series, not the best, not the worst, but still a good one nonetheless. And hopefully we'll be seeing you guys next time in Series 6. And next time on Beast Quest, we'll be moving on to Series 16, no doubt, of course, the Siege of Gwildor. So yeah, Styro, the Snapping Brute. Till next time, guys, peace.